Well, speaking of sexy time, I got a list article here. 5 animals that turn sex into a nightmare. Number 1, the brown antechinus, suicide by sex. Well, you've never heard of the brown antechinus? That's fine. We hadn't either. They're small marsupials living in the forest of eastern and northeastern Australia. And when mating season rolls around, they turn those forests into sweaty dens of non-stop marsupial sex. We mean that non-stop. When their first breeding season comes around, male brown antechinuses, I don't even know how that's pronounced really, transform into frothing testosterone-filled sex maniacs. For the next 2 weeks, they will hump every female they find. One session can last up to 14 hours. Man, they're like doing that sting tantric sex. Unfortunately, their first mating season will also be their last. During their lust-filled frenzy, male brown antechinuses produce immense amounts of stress hormones. The hormones will completely wreck their immune system, practically guaranteeing that they'll die of disease, parasites, and infections soon after mating. And if diseases don't get them, they'll drop dead simply from exhaustion and dehydration. Scientists have named this method of fatal breeding suicidal reproduction. I mean, these animals might have it figured out too. I mean, don't wear out your welcome and just first breeding season and you go for it. Next, the cowpea seed beetles, spikes where there should be none. Yes, that's exactly what you think it is. Being a female cowpea seed beetle isn't easy. The first problem is that you're just a beetle that's considered a pest, so everything wants to kill you. The second problem is the male beetle's penis. This horrifying organ seems less like a dong and more like some kind of medieval torture device. It's covered in long, sharp spikes, making it look like a brutal weapon. But the female beetles have a way to deal with that, right? Nope. The weaponized penis is just as gruesome in practice as it is in appearance. During mating, the male will savagely tear apart the female's reproductive tract. But why? Well, it somehow increases their chance of reproduction. Scientists did an experiment where they shaved off the spikes on the male beetle's penis, and the bug's fertility collapsed. Can you imagine being a scientist and being like, I think I'm going to shave that beetle's penis? Nice and smooth. See what happens.
And there's no way to teach you how to do it either. You got to figure that out on your own.
The females are trying to deal with the nightmare penises by quickly evolving stronger and thicker reproductive organs, but the male answers immediately by growing the spikes even longer. In a sexual evolutionary arms race, the female beetle unfortunately seems unable to win. Next, ducks, necrophiliac group rapists. Ducks are clumsy, cute, quackling things, right? That's what you might think, but these adorable farmyard birds are notorious sex pests. The males of some duck species, like the mallard, are unapologetic habitual rapists, while some birds stage elaborate mating dances to win over a feathered lady. The word consent means absolutely nothing to these ducks. If the male's in the mood and it spots a female, it will simply head over to her and ram it in. Some male ducks also have enormously long penises that help them penetrate a struggling female. Not only that, the male ducks like to do it in groups. They form a disturbing rape flight where a swarm of male ducks surround a lone female and keeps pecking until she mates with them or dies from the violence. But ducks aren't picky when it comes to choosing a victim. They'll also happily mate with other male ducks, even if the victim is long dead. Next, the anglerfish, the overly attached boyfriend. You can't really say that anglerfish sex is scary since there is no sex, but the ritual that's taken its place is pretty horrifying. Anglerfish live in the deepest, darkest parts of the ocean, so finding a mate is difficult. They have developed a bizarre mating method where the male literally becomes one with the female. Male anglerfish are several times smaller than a female. They have just one purpose in their lives, to seek out a female and bite her. Once the male has bitten on, he'll never let go. Eventually, his mouth fuses into the female, and his organs and body begin to atrophy. After a while, the male reduces to nothing more than a sack of sperm. When the female feels like having babies, she'll use the genetic material the now dead male has left her. One female fish can have multiple sacs that were once male fish hanging off her. Suppose that's one way to remember your ex-boyfriends. I mean, that's actually a pretty bizarre thing.
Yeah, nature figures out some weird solutions.
I mean, he just bites on, never lets go until he dies.
Well, life is so rare down there. It's like if they find like one mate, they're probably never gonna find another one.
Jeez. I mean, I don't know. It's just crazy creatures. And then bed bugs, incest, rape, and murder. Bed bugs are repulsive enough as it is, but once you hear about how they reproduce, you'll have an additional reason to hate these blood-sucking parasites. The bugs are notorious for breeding extremely fast, but they don't reproduce through gentle lovemaking. Oh no. The male bedbug's kink is scientifically known as traumatic insemination. The penis of a male bedbug rivals the cowpea seed beetles in how horrible it is. But unlike the beetle's spiked club of a dong, bedbugs have a sharp, long hypodermic needle that they've decided to call penises. Female bedbugs do have vagina-like reproductive organs, but that's not where the male's penis goes. The male just rams the needle penis straight through the female's exoskeleton wherever it pleases. Aim a bit wrong, and the stab kills the female. Not that the male cares. It got what it wanted. To add to the nightmare, bedbug males are attracted to size and size only. They'll forcibly penetrate any other bedbug bigger than themselves. It doesn't matter if it's another male, their sibling, or even their parent.
Bedbugs.
Oh, like Game of Thrones, man.
I remember in biology class, they showed some video on, I forget if it was like snails or slugs or maybe both, but like apparently they're androgynous, I guess. And so like they do their little whatever, and then like one of them will shoot a dart out into the other one. I was like, what the fuck is this?
It is weird that like the idea is to reproduce, but they're basically like doing things that could kill the other one, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and like the suicidal behavior, it doesn't make sense that, you know, isn't life's whole thing to like sprout more life? Like,
Yeah, I mean, that's the idea. But I guess if one person has to die to get it done.
yeah, it just seems counterproductive.
It makes me think, remember the like Lemmings video games?
Oh yeah, I've played those.
Do I don't think Lemmings, when they die in real life, it's not because they're like suicidal, right? It's just because they're like kind of dumb.
I don't know if that was kind of discredited,
I feel like it was.
but they might have gotten like, you know, if they're running, I don't want to say herds, but you know, they get in groups and like, I don't know, some of them go off a cliff or something.
I've heard that with certain animals, like if some will go off the cliff, like a lot more will follow.
I think it's a situation like that, like where they don't mean to die, but maybe they're all in a herd or something, and they just
Not like the back ones are pushing the front ones off or something.
Yeah, something like that. You think they'll ever make a new Lemmings franchise?
I mean, it could be you could do a iPhone game or something. Some of those are pretty simple.
I feel like the last Lemmings game I played had to be either PS1 or PS2. It was a while ago.
I never heard of these games.
Yeah, basically they're puzzle games where like you got this nonstop line of lemmings, and like you can make one. You can like make one that can build stuff, or make one that can turn the other ones, and it's kind of like a puzzle. That each level you got to save at least so many of them, and so it's like a puzzle game of trying to figure out how to get them through safely, or at least a certain number of them. But yeah, it's interesting.